We are live. Hi, Theron. Hello, hello. Hi, Mir.
Citizens of the internet, prepare yourselves. Because it's Wednesday, halfway through the week. We're getting there.
Yeah.
Friday's in sight. Saturday's going to be a bonus thing, and you can do what everyone does on Sundays, sit around all day and dread Mondays. Because that's how we do things in a society. Because we do live in one. How's everybody doing? We got a show for you this afternoon and this weekend. Whatever. If you're going back and watching this, maybe you're watching live, you're one of the super awesome people that show up. RISC-V for Debian, Framework 16, new version of DaVinci Resolve, and we're going to play Doom on a Raspberry with no wires. I'll tell you how that works. Stick around for the end of the show. But amuse yourselves and just bask in the wonder as I try to figure out how to send out some social media stuff real quick.
Yeah. Aw, Art Theron. I love that you had renamed yourself a while ago to Illegally Blind. I don't think I mentioned that to you, but I thought that was really cool. Because, I don't know. It's especially cool because I'm considered legally blind, as I am in my left eye. But I like that you used illegally blind. Twitch bridge needs some booping. Do 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 do.
Okay, I got to remember to use my new button on the Stream Deck. I'll tell everybody about that at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
How's it going, everybody? The bridge is one way. Cool.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it in the other way then. That'll be awesome. It'll save you some time.
There is that.
All right. How's everybody doing on a Wednesday, man? It's middle of the week, as I was talking about. I got a small adventure to share with everybody at the beginning of the show. Not a ton going on. A couple of guides. I still got to lay down some mad disk tracks for installing audio plugins in Linux. There's a little video. Ran into one of those situations where I was like, somebody asked me, and before I tell you to just Google something or Bing it, because I know a lot of you, in a Linux show, you love Bing, can't get enough Microsoft. I go check, and I wouldn't check because I was like, hey, Ben, how do I install a clap plugin? And after I got done snickering about, a plugin format is called a clap, and they're going to stick with that. I did a Google search, and the best I could find was like a 24-minute long video of like the textbook example of somebody rambling and never getting to the point. So I'm going to show you how to install all the audio plugins in Linux, just in case, maybe not interested right now, but you might be interested in the future. You might be interested. It could be critical to your existence by this time next Tuesday. And you will have a guide in and out, probably like 5 minutes. We'll be done. It'll be awesome. Moving hardware data centers. Oh man, were the data centers close to each other? At least, because when I hear that, I have flashbacks of what passed for data centers that I was crawling around in the mid-aughts, next door to each other and dragging carts back and forwards. The big, like you would see at the big box hardware stores with those things stacked up. This was after pulling all the hard drives out because we didn't have SSDs and we had to carry those by hand, because if you go across a parking lot, or a street in this case, there's a good chance not many of those drives are going to power back up when you get over there. 20 clicks. Oh. Light server chassis. All right. At least you doesn't sound like you were moving racks. Racks always have like a different equation to them. You're like, do we try to move the whole rack or do we take it apart and try to see if we can get it back together? Because you would swear some of these racks were made by IKEA. They were designed to go together exactly once. All right. People moving racks. Hopefully everything got over there and it powered back up.
Yeah, that's always scary.
And it wasn't that was a very interesting thing. So I get home Saturday, right? I talked about this on the Saturday show. I get home Saturday. It's like 2:45 I pull in. I had the forewarning, though. There were like maybe 11 power trucks. There were some of the, right when you pull into the neighborhood and just like right around my house area, my neighbor's house. Like, well, that's interesting. I knew they were going to have to come fix stuff because on Thursday night we had a storm come through. And it ripped the top of a power pole in my backyard off. Just sheared the top off. So I had live power cables running across my upstairs deck Friday. And I called him. I'm like, hey, by the way, my power's not out, so I'm assuming those lines are going to be live. I'm like, yeah, we'll get to it. Like, okay, that sounds like an emergency type situation. Then, of course, I Googled, like, how bad was the storm? And it turns out there were still, like, thousands of people in Athens without power. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. So they did come to fix it, and I didn't have power until probably like 7 o'clock. So I had about 30 minutes to get the show set up on Saturday, but I was terrified because they'd cut it on like 30 minutes earlier. I was watching them. There's nothing to do. You know, I rearranged the living room furniture. I need something to do here.
Yeah, that's scary. You kind of wanted the system to get going before you turned everything on.
And they initially powered it back up, and it immediately went off because they had miswired something on that pole that they replaced.
Oh, I didn't remember that part of the story.
And it's like, the first thing I was thinking was like, oh no, they smoked everything. Was it going to be like 3 or 4 more hours from they were able to fix it in about 20 minutes, but that was a bit nerve-wracking. I'd already told Pedro and Jordan when the power was on. I'm like, yo, I don't know like what's going to be going on. But that reminded me, you ever walked into your house, you ever get home, you walk in, power's off. Like, what's going on? What's going on? Nobody told me about this. You don't get any notifications, and you maybe go check with your neighbors. Your first thought was like, did I forget to pay the power bill? What happened? Hate that. It's never a fun time.
Mm-mm.
And then last night, just to keep the nails bitten, it was like 4 minutes before we went live with Trackmania, all of the Mania Planet authentication servers were down, so I couldn't start the server up and get it registered. So that was a very fun time. I need to move this. And we need to pop that over there. And I need to change that to not a bullet point.
Not a bullet point. Ooh. Poor Theron. That's always like, it's always probably really heavy too, although you guys probably had put it on dollies and whatnot. Hopefully. Hello, Biatko.
There we go. All right, I pretty much got everything together. You ready, Joe?
Yes.
You need to get up, take a break?
I guess I should. I wasn't sure I needed to, but maybe I should. Okay, I will be right back.
There we go. I wish I'd get rid of that animation. Oh, I guess that's me. XFCE, when you, if you're a normal, sane, functioning member of society, your taskbar and your application launcher, however you have those set to auto hide, correct? Because why would you ever waste screen real estate, right? At any point for things that you rarely use. And I've never liked the delay in XFCE. It is like 300 milliseconds too long. It's just long enough for me to look at it and be like, are you going to go away? Then it finally goes away. Should that upset me? It doesn't really upset me, but, gets on my nerves a little bit. What do we have this week? I need to pull that up. All right. Oh, man. So, the ESRB. You know what the ESRB is? What does it stand for? I know what it is, but I don't know the... Yes, I know the name. Tell me what it is. What is it supposed to stand for? Entertainment Software Association? Yeah, I know that. Oh, boo. Ah, man. Entertainment Software Ratings Board? Oh, okay. That's what it stands for. So, they want to do this. They want to scan your face hole to verify that you're old enough to play video games. Facial age estimation to scan selfies. Why is this a good thing, though? Why is this a good idea? Think about it. Work at your brain mates and be like, why is this a good thing? Why would it be a good thing? Now, I agree with you. It's probably never going to happen. Yet. Why would it possibly... What would possibly be the benefit from this? Why would it be a good thing? Because I thought about it. Here's how you spin it. Here's how you spin it, everybody. What this is going to do, or would do, again, I don't think this is ever going to happen, is you're going to be giving children direct motivation and reason to go out and learn the exceptionally easy task of cracking and or bypassing facial recognition. Skills they will learn. The same reason if you have children and you limit their internet time, which I guess you should to some extent, right? Or at least limit, like, what sites. You should always have a web-encrypted Wi-Fi access point to teach the kids, like, how do I crack web? Get them interested in that. Teach the kids early how to bypass facial recognition. Something that, man, doesn't it really seem like every basically government in existence right now or enforcement agency wants to do some type of like facial, and all the advertisement agencies want to do it as well. These are going to be like modern problems kids are going to have to grow up with, right? I mean, fortunately, people have been enough. There's enough bugger behind that where most of it's being shut down wherever it was implemented. But and I gotta say, ESRB ratings. what did we had Peggy growing up, which is the same thing. Never enforced. Never enforced. Like I had, there was a small chance of me not being able to get into a movie as a youth. You know, if it had an adult rating, they're like, nah, maybe not. Video games, it never mattered growing up in the 90s, I should say. Maybe today there's some level of enforcement, but I like walked right in. I remember, boom, putting my pre-order down for Mortal Kombat 2, came back, picked it up. There were no complaints. Never gets stopped. But I mean, you gotta think like the logic behind that, you know? Because I just truly do not believe video games make people violent. Like, I just think that's a silly thing, right? Yeah, underage, M-rated games. E for everyone. What is your favorite mature and ultra-violent gory game that you like to play, Jill, outside of Serious Sam?
I like Doom. Just classic Doom. I haven't gotten so much into the new ones. I use them mostly for testing, but I still like the original Doom. Yeah.
All right. Cool, everybody. I'm gonna go grab a drink real quick.
Oh, sounds good. Yeah. I'm glad I went and took a break. I needed to take Advil because I started developing a horrible headache. So, do. Oh boy. So is everyone staying cool? I hope so. do. Yeah, I gotta get this. I took 2 Advils, hoping this headache will go away. It just kind of came on all of a sudden. Hi, DeCresney. How are you doing, DeCresney? Oh, and here is... I'll show you guys. I have a cute new kawaii mug. It looks like it's a clear, transparent kind of milk jug looking. And on the front of it, it says Flawless Diva with a diamond. I didn't know that said that on the front of it. I bought it because I like the shape of it. But it's cute, isn't it? And I put a green straw in it. Yeah, I really like it. Despite what it says in the front, but it is kind of cute. Steve husband liked it. I'll show it to Ven. See, Ven?
What?
This is my new mug today. It's like a milk carton. It's a kawaii mug. It's a transparent pink milk carton. And it says, what I didn't know when I bought it, it says Flawless Diva with a diamond on it. That's not normally my style, but I like the container. And I put a green straw in it.
Does it have like a screw on top or what?
Yeah. The top of it screws off and on so you can put the water in. Right. Or whatever you want.
I like that. It's got like a good stout straw. It's like one of those things like if you trip and fell, it'd go like right to the back of your skull.
This is true. Actually, this is one of my own straws. I like these really big ones, so I put my own in it.
Like, I'm a fan of, like, weaponized straws. I have stainless steel straws in my house.
Yeah, you do.
Everybody
You do.
thinks it's because I'm like, oh, it's all recycling. I'm like, no, these are weapons I can carry with me at all times, and nobody questions you carrying it. People would get like, Vin, why do you always carry around like a sharp, pointy stick? And I'm like, no, I got my straw with me.
You got your straw. Yeah, that's the way, I have metal straws, but I hadn't used them because I poked myself with one before, so I decided that wasn't a good idea. With this one, I have to be really careful because it's hard plastic, but it's not as hard as yours.
It would be difficult to drink out of it if it was floppy plastic. Be like a hose.
Yeah, to Kresny, it's kawaii aesthetic. Harajuku. I love it.
It looks like a rejected prop from the Barbie movie.
It does, actually. That's a good one, Ben. Yeah, silicone straw. That would be good. Yeah, actually, I need silicone straws for that reason, honey. So I don't impale myself with them. That's normally why I don't use straws when I'm doing the podcast.
So you don't stab yourself with them?
Yeah. Because depth perception issues.
You get to put like a little
Yeah,
squishy
your
thing
little
on the
tip.
end.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That was one of the reasons I chose this one. It's bright green.
And remember to clean, if you do buy metal straws, clean those things, man. And like they come with a little tool with like, one of those little brushy ends on it.
Yeah.
You got to use that because if you forget to use that for a week and you clean that and go, oh, it's nasty.
Nasty.
Like straws getting nasty. Not even drinking anything interesting out of them, like Crystal Light type stuff.
It's just that particles get stuck in there and you get bacteria buildup and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I'm one of the few people, Steve, when you talk about pipe cleaners, that one of the few people on the planet that has ever used a pipe cleaner to clean a pipe. Everybody else thinks about pipe cleaners like, yeah, man, I make like a little stick figure type people out of them. And
yeah. I've done that.
All right. We got that. I think we are pretty good to go. Going to be testing some VIN code in production. A little bit of it. We're going to really be testing that on Saturday. If there's like any weird panic.
Hi, Glorious Egg Roll. How you doing? Yay! Glad you made it.
All right. Yeah, that's fortunately my reusable metal straws came with a utility to clean, like one of those rods with a brush on it.
Mm-hmm. You know what I use pipe cleaners for? Something unique. I use them to make bows on packages
Arts
when
and
I
crafts.
wrap people gifts. Yeah. But I actually make bows out of them. So we buy them.
Airbrushes make sense. Yeah. Poison Death Straw. I'd go, listen, I would definitely go see Poison Death Straw if they were doing a show. Like, hey, Vin, Poison Death Straw is going to be in town next week. I'm like, you know what? Let's get some tickets. Cool.
Poison Death Straw.
Yeah. You can, it doesn't stack bleed. It stacks hydration. You get like +2 hydration per turn. It's awesome. What is this, Steve?
Yeah.
Your vandalism?
His paint room.
Your graffiti? Your tagging? Spray booth image. All right. Cool. Yeah, I don't paint. I've tried painting cars a couple of times. And like one time I just straight up gave up, and the other time it was just like one of those like, yeah, we're messing this up too bad. Because auto paint's expensive, kids, and you definitely get that look from the person who has the booth. And they're like, dude, and I'm like, all right, here. It's something I would like to learn to eventually do one day.
Oh, yeah.
Just paint small cars? Hey, man, that's great.
Yeah.
Man. Just hang those guys, hit them twice, 2 or 3, put some clear coat on it, call it a day. This be wonderbar. Okay. We got to do the plugins. That's good. That's covered. Last minute pre-flight checks. Also, if you're not aware, our bridge is only working one way. So if you're posting anything from Discord like Steve is right now, it's not going to make it to Twitch. In Twitch, you're not seeing what's being posted in Discord because I know some people will have them both open.
Yeah.
You know, they'll have it open on the stream and they'll have their Discord client.
I do.
And they'll chat in our Discord. And that normally goes both ways, but it's only going... but if you do type anything in Twitch, it'll make it back to Discord.
Steve Husband doesn't have a Twitch account. He didn't want one.
Can you blame him?
Yeah.
I have 2 Twitch accounts. I finally created like one for myself this year. It took me that long to get around to it.
Oh, okay. Your personal one.
Yeah, I created a personal one. Like, we still don't even have like an official Twitter now X account. It's just like, just do it through mine. Or Mastodon account. Like, I have never been a big fan of like having like the company account. I'm like, I don't follow company accounts. I'll follow the people. Oh, Steve, you'd make a killing. You'd make a killing, Steve, if we set you up and you did some Evil Ted-like stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You'd be able to retire 10 years early. And you would just have people showing up every day asking you, how do I make these things? How do I do this stuff? And you could just become an educator.
Oh, Boo Love. No. I don't want that happening. We'll make sure that...
Somebody with a severe nerve damage through large chunks of their body, you can still do what I'm talking about, Steve. Trust me.
Yeah.
And it's usually not, you don't end up with twitching, but you get like really cool feelings like spiders are crawling on your legs. That's an awesome feel. You're like, hey. And we're not talking about the good type of like spiders crawling on your legs, like drug induced. We're just talking about like, oh, look, I got some feeling in the top of my foot. Feels like something's crawling on my foot, and I know it's not, but you know what? You got to check it just in case.
Yeah. I get it from restless leg syndrome really bad from having GERD. It's not fun. It's okay as long as I take my medicine.
Mine's just good old-fashioned blunt trauma damage.
Yeah.
All right. We got our 2-shot line up. We got me. Yeah. What's that extra one there? Oh, that's the number. What are audio numbers? Let me hang on. Let me make sure that's muted. That doesn't have a soundtrack. I need to hide that. Hide. There we go. There we go. Our 3-way. We're lined up correctly. Right. Let me double check the split. Boop. It's the thin red line.
There it is. Yeah.
You make things like that when you do streaming things. You're like, you got to figure out like the alignment issues. Why? Because you will get the comment like, you're like 16 pixels off to the left for the And if I get a comment like that, I will be 17 pixels off the next week. Cool. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Let's rock and roll.
Yay!
We should be about ready. See, do we have a required stuff there? Yeah, we do. I gotta get used to hitting the mute button on the Stream Deck now.
Oh, yeah.
I have to train myself instead of reaching over here. Hit the mute, this particular button right here. This little guy?
Yeah.
I got it. On my Stream Deck, you can see it light up a couple of times, right?
I can see it, yeah.
Now, that technology is wired in thanks to my Raspberry Pi 4.
Yay!
My collector's item.
Yes.
My vintage SBC. I saw our theory you were posting like, oh man, they got some Raspberry Pi 4s in stock. And yeah, that's like super neat. And they were reasonably priced too. I'm good, but I was thinking about that, like, and I'm like, are people really going to get excited to like, for all rights and purposes, like in the market of single board computing at this point, to get a Pi 4? Like, that's some pretty old technology these days. You know? Mm-hmm. It is. And
it is.
Quad-core Raspberry Pi 4 SBC is kind of dumpy in 2023 compared to all the rock chip stuff.
Yeah, we definitely need not only to be able to get Raspberry Pis, which are getting easier to get, but to get newer ones, like we've been talking about. Minimally an 8 gig one? How about 16 gig?
You
or
got
32?
Tons in Europe? Anything with a USB-C?
Nice, Arthur.
Yeah, DisplayPort. And RAM, too. Like 8 gigs was amazing. That's the one I have back in the rack is a Pi 4 8 gig, but I just bought it. I was like, I didn't know what I was going to do with it initially. It's like $75. I'm like, okay.
Aww. Hi, Happy Cube.
You can...
that is my friend from Scale, Chad.
You make that sound like it's your friend. Just one friend. It's like, this is my friend.
He's a good friend of mine.
So,
he's part of the Linux Chicks as well.
I don't use SD cards because I got that, what was it? Argon case. So I got like a SSD in the bottom of that case that it runs off of. Does it make that big a difference? Speed-wise, surprisingly, it's not that big of a difference to it. Mainly because you got to go over that USB 3. That's another thing that the later SBCs have. And modern SBCs, they have an NVMe hole. You can plug in an NVMe.
Oh, yeah. Drive. There you go. Yeah.
Awesome. The thing about running an SSD is write endurance, though. You don't have to worry about burning out the SD card, which if you've had a Raspberry Pi running for any amount of time, you're going to burn out SD cards. It just happens. That's reality.
This is true. Yeah, Happy Cube, and I do check the Raspberry Pi locator website. That's a great website. We've talked about it here on the show. It's that's where I've been going every week, checking it too. Yeah, I still have my Raspberry Pi 4 is my Raspberry Pi 400 in the keyboard, which I love.
Surprisingly, those have been available throughout the entire time.
I know, since the pandemic,
I thought people would like snap those up like when it got really bad, like when you just couldn't get anything. But no, I guess it's just because of the form factor,
Yeah.
If you just need a Raspberry Pi, you're like, I don't need the keyboard and everything else. But I like to imagine that somewhere there's a home lab with just a bunch of keyboards in it. Well, they might have like run out for about to articulate the point, put a finer point on it. They've always been reasonably accessible and reasonably affordable too. Like you never saw the levels of scalping on the Raspberry Pi 400 keyboard.
Yeah,
things where you were seeing, hey,
With
let's see if we could find a Raspberry Pi 4
SoCs.
4 gig for like under $200.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the 400s were still available at the
ish price, right?
yeah.
Like around the price, they went up.
It was around, yeah.
You could buy one without taking out a personal loan. If I could figure out what to do with one, yeah, I'd pick one up. I mean, it's neat. I want that form factor in a, with more power, with like 16 gigs of RAM.
Yeah,
something that you
16
could
gig or 32.
like run a reasonable little desktop on, right?
Yeah.
They had some 8 gigs. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
I gotta do something with all the stuff I have. I have a box of Raspberry Pi stuff that like stares at me every time I go into the supply room. It's got, when they brought up Adafruit, I got, it's like 2 boxes now, like just all kind of projects. I'm like, I'm going to do that eventually one day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a lot of Raspberry Pi projects too. I need to do for our Linux Chicks LA booth, but I hadn't been able to get them, so I couldn't do it. We did, I think that this was one of the skills that Chad or Happy Cube couldn't make, but at the Linux Chicks LA booth, we did a photo booth with a Raspberry Pi where, people could put on cute little penguin outfits, and we had penguin balloons, and they can take a picture a la, booth style at a mall. And then we printed them out on a little printer, little baby pictures, just like in the mall. So that was really cool. And me and Sharon came up with some fun scripts for that. But that was really fun. And we wanted to do something else like that again too, but haven't been able to because we haven't had access to the Pis.
Right. I think we're good. We got we're about to go start recording. We got all the pre-show conversation up. We're talking ourselves out.
Yes.
This is just the process of like doing a show.
I know.
I'm like, all right, we're getting ready to go. And it's like 10 minutes later. This is just what happens.
This is what happens.
All right. Good to go, ladies and gentlemen. Goodbye, background music. Click. Let's move that up to our outro music. We're good to go there. Oh, there's another thing I gotta buy. EasyCap's got like some new capture cards out. I gotta buy one of those. They're like cheap too, like $80. It's like one of those. Like, let's see if it
under
works.
100.
They're PCI Express by 1, but we got to see what level of like they are.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Tim from EasyCap. If you're watching, I know Tim at EasyCap. All right. Cool. Let's do it.
Okay.
That's recording. Twitch, are you recording? I hope you're recording, just in case, because sometimes I have to use you, Twitch, if things go catastrophically interesting.
Yes.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Linux Weekly, daily Wednesdays where we sit back, relax, take that midweek break, talk about some of the fun things going on in the world of Linux and open source. I'm Vince Stone. That's Joe Bryan. Everybody watching us live on Twitch. Twitch bridge is down, so if you type in anything and it doesn't show up on Twitch from Discord, I'm like, oops. But don't worry, you can always pop over to Twitch and we'll have it fixed next time we reset the bot. So no worries there. Playing around with a bunch of stuff. I think our big news, we're both going to talk about, Jill, Twitter got a new name, didn't it?
Yeah, X.
And people care for some reason.
Yeah. I don't really care too much, although I like that. I like tweeting and birds. So, but Elon Musk had renamed the company to X Corp not that long ago. So I knew it was going to change. X Corp is going to be like
the holding
the
organization. That dude has had the X domain name since the 90s, which was kind of interesting to keep track of that. However, that looks a lot like the X logo, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This is my only comment on it because I don't have any attachments, as I've stated, to social media networks. I'm like, whatever, do whatever you want with it. It looks like X11, Xorg.
Yeah,
That was
it does
the first
actually.
thing I thought when I saw it. I'm like, that looks
old school.
awful. Like, yeah, and I'm like, couldn't we pick something a little more original than that? However, that has spurred me to start a campaign. Let's rename, see if we can get Mastodon renamed to Wayland, so we can have like X versus Wayland social media edition.
Yeah, there we go. A good one, Ben.
Come on, let's just do it. Do it for a little bit.
Oh boy. I think Xorg is a better name for a social media platform than Wayland. Oh, I'm kidding.
So you got a meetup coming up?
Yeah. So actually, we had a meetup on Sunday where we started talking about doing preparations for the Southern California Linux Expo next year, Scale 21X. And Happy Cube in chat was there. He joined us. That's my friend and fellow Linux Chicks LAer. So, and he goes to Scale. So I was happy he was there and got to catch up with him and all the chicks. And we made actually quite a few plans for upcoming things we're going to do at our monthly meetings. So we do monthly virtual meetings.
Virtual or ritual?
Virtual online meetings. We want to do in IRL meetings again too. We're looking for a location, and we have several people who have sponsored us. So we got to decide where we're gonna have our in IRL meetings.
Fun, and we played a little bit of Tuesday. We had a little bit of a well, I say
a scare.
About 15 minutes before we went live, we play a classic game called Trackmania 2. We got a group. We got room for like 4 more members. If you want to participate, there's no application. You just come in and play with us on Tuesdays and Fridays. Trackmania 2 Stadium. The authentication servers went down, so I couldn't bring our private server up. And we were sitting there like, uh-oh. And I'm sitting here, get everything cut on, and I try to get the server to start up. Wasn't having it, and this entire time I'm just watching people show up in Discord getting ready. I'm like, we might not be doing anything. And like, no joke, 4 minutes before we went live, everything worked itself out. I was like, thank you for that stress. I needed that in my life.
Oh boy.
Speaking of fun things and stress, Monday, I had jury duty.
Oh, that's right. I remember you were telling me that was coming up.
It was coming up. It was on Monday. That was the adventure. I'm just going to put it like this. It resulted in me. I get there. It's the courthouse. Like, where's it at? Oh, it's state court. I got to go to. Top of the building, 5th floor. Guess what was broken?
Elevator?
Yep. Okay. It's like, of course. Of course.
Boy.
5 flights. Get up there. Chill out. Wait for an hour and a half outside the courtroom for whatever reason. Finally come in. We're like one side. Then they get on the other side. You know, there's like 83 people. And they're like, everybody on that side, you can go home now. I'm like, oh no, I got to wait around more. Everybody on this side who's past the first 3 rows, you can go do something for like an hour. Then come back. Really? So I went down, you know, I'm not going to like sit there. It's downtown Athens. Like, went out, got something to drink. Played around, went back up 5 flights of stairs. I'm like, geez, okay.
Oh, poor man.
Then they're doing like little preview things like, hang on, let's just ask, you know, some questions to weed out like anybody in case they need backup jurors. And I'm not going to give anything away from the case because it might be going on, but I will say this one thing. This whole thing was over a policy sum of $200 was the case from 4 years ago.
I was on one time, Van, where it was only $20 item.
For $200, I had to walk up 5 flights of stairs.
Yeah,
twice.
5 flights of stairs. That would have been really bad if they had someone in a wheelchair, wouldn't have been?
Wouldn't have been able to make it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have been able to make it. It's a good thing we got excused. You know, they ended up being pick from that, but I'm like, there's no way, because it's like, I'm already mad at this person. Because, several hours, like having to walk upstairs and like over $200. Come on.
Yeah. Well, usually what I found out is this person who purportedly stole $20 worth of hair supply stuff. This is like from 30 years ago. It was someone who had been stealing a lot. So this was like, the fifth time or whatever. So that's why. Like, why are we here for $20?
$20, I don't even know how I would handle that. $200, I was just like, this is like 80 people tied up into this.
Tied up.
But,
so it was probably someone who's had issues before, if it's only $200.
4 years ago. And there we go. That was my adventure in doing my civic duty. I didn't get picked, as Adrian once said, if a defense lawyer ever picked me to be on a jury, he could be tried for malpractice. I'm probably not a good candidate. I'm not that type of person. But what else we got going on? Playing around with some audio stuff. Ever interested in audio on Linux? Because, audio doesn't work under Linux. We know that. This is all in your head. It's imagination. This entire audio chain that we have set up for live streaming, recording, me dunking all over Intel's bad audio engineering for their podcast. I needed to set up a couple of things because I use the Stream Deck. You know what a Stream Deck is, right?
Yeah.
For everybody who's going to buy a microphone, they're like, I need a microphone. I need a Stream Deck. For some reason, they think they need an audio mixer too.
Yeah.
That boggles my mind. And, it's the thing that they install and they never use. You go over to their house and there's dust on their Stream Deck. And, if I come over to your house, I'm going to walk over to your mic. I say a microphone arm, I'm going to go. I'm like, yeah, you never use that, do you?
Yeah.
So I make a lot of use of the Stream Deck for these shows because I use an application. I did a video on it maybe about 2 years ago called BitFocus Companion, which allows you to tie in hundreds of services and applications into a Stream Deck that you can use them all at the same time. And the main thing I've been using the Stream Deck for is controlling our switching. I have it tied into OBS. The Stream Deck runs on a Raspberry Pi back in the rack, and it controls the streaming box. So when I hit, I go, boom, I hit the Jill button, it goes to Jill. And I hit a 2-shot button, it goes back to 2-shot. And, I can control, record, play, all the things. But the cool thing about that is I have like 99 pages of stuff that I can stack on there. And I don't have to just use OBS. I can use OBS with like DMX lighting to control all types. Things you've never even heard of. It's fascinating to go through the list. And, PTZ cameras. And another one, because over here, you can kind of see it right here if you're watching the video version. That's my monitor for Reaper, because we use Reaper for live audio processing and recording. And I wanted a way to do mutes and activate plugins. It's an adventure. Like I don't know if I'll do a video, but I'll definitely do a written guide of how to get that set up. So when I hit a mute button or activate plugins and move around, it goes to the Raspberry Pi. Then it's controlled over OSC, which is the web exposed version of Reaper for like if I wanted to create a control surface in a website. It'd be easy to do with that. And that triggers action scripts, and then that it's a Lua script on top of that, and it works, and so I can do all the fun things. So if that crashes, a biggest thing this week is I'm trying to learn to use my mute button on the Stream Deck, and it's hard to do because I'm so accustomed to reaching over here.
Reaching over.
Fun times, simple creature. However, we got something way more interesting than any of the audio stuff I'm playing around with. And that's Debian. Debian has went and added RISC-V as an official architecture.
Woohoo.
Makes me so happy. Being so happy.
It's very exciting.
Like something, an alternate to ARM. And check this out though, like being named an official architecture, this is just the start. This is just the start, because you got to think about it. The official all right, let's just back this up then. Dial back the excitement. the official archive, it's a bit bare right now. Like this just happened a couple of days ago. A lot of work still needs to be done on this because we got to get all the packages and etc.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Here's the little blurb from the mailing list, but you got to think about it. Debian is upstream for a lot of other distributions. So that means your RISC-V support is going to be headed to a lot of those. That's where it gets like really interesting. You think your Ubuntu's, your Mints, and all the other Debian-based spins. What about Arch? I'm sure Arch has already added the support for it, whatever. But what I want to talk about is what I want to talk about is what we all know that we can just run out and buy RISC-V SBCs. They're out there right now, right? Mm-hmm. We've talked about them over the years. I guess that's neat. That's neat. Where it gets interesting for me, Jill, is there's about 4 companies right now that are working on server class chips. You know, something with like Xeon-like performance, or I guess we should say epic performance in this modern day and age. But, that's where I get excited because maybe, just maybe in our future, we're going to have an option for something other than x86 on the desktop, right? And it might be RISC-V instead of ARM.
Yeah. And that's what I'm hoping, because it's even, more powerful than ARM chips, or the RISC chip. And the fact that it's legacy code and hardware that's, that's coming to the modern world finally. My DEC Alpha from 1995 was RISC-based. So it's really nice to have an open source option now, and one that we can put in the hands of consumers. Yeah, and I really knew that this was coming soon because I'd been paying attention to the Debian threads on it. And as usual, and they're in the forefront. And this is just so exciting. It's yet another architecture that Debian supports. And yes, it's very important because it is the foundational Linux distro. And so many people rely on it. and it's because of the stability, it's used in, everything from manufacturing to space, and NASA and SpaceX. It's very important in our world.
It's LG. I run it on every single box in this studio, not because I have some love or affinity for Debian. No.
Aww.
It's because it works.
Yes.
It's the right tool for the job. If you need to build a workstation, if you need to build I don't care if it's a video workstation, audio workstation, Debian's the one you pick. Debian's the one you pick. I'm sure no one on the internet will disagree with me on that, guarantee. Very happy to see, and I really want to stress, their first step is to get the initial 90 packages built for this.
Yeah.
Before it starts rolling out.
And that's always the challenge. You remember, Ven, how long it's taken them to get ARM packages? Even now we're still trying to get, software on ARM. So and that's improving a lot. But now we're going to have to turn around and developers are going to have to do that for the RISC platform.
Well, if you've been around long enough, especially on Linux, you will remember how long it took to get x86 64.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was the thing,
moving
too.
to 64-bit? Yeah. I remember doing my first install of Fedora, because that's what we ran back in the day, and they had x86 64 support, and I put that in. Couldn't watch anything because all the media codecs were 386, or 32-bit, I should say. Mm-hmm. And that was a hard couple of years before everything got moved over to 64-bit, except for Steam, because Valve refuses to make a 64-bit client for Linux or Windows. So you're going to run into stuff like that.
Debian.
Yeah.
I love Debian.
Debian on RISC. I want to play around with RISC. Yeah. It needs to grow up a little bit. It's got to get to a usable state. Having options with SBCs, when they get a little more powerful, is always a good thing. Because it's just been ARM all the things. Now, then again, we might end up with ARM desktops. We might still end up with x86 desktops. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not Moore. I don't make laws. We'll figure it out. Yeah. Something that does have an x86 processor in it that you're not going to mind because it's so cool is Framework.
Yeah, so Framework has just announced they are now taking pre-orders for the much anticipated 16-inch display version of their modular, sustainable, and repairable Framework laptop. And the Framework Laptop 16, it has 4 layers of modular components, including a swappable discrete GPU. That's the big deal right there. A swappable discrete GPU. And it is powered by an AMD Ryzen 040HS CPU and an optional AMD Radeon RX 7700S graphics module with 8 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory. And it also has a fully customizable and hot swappable input modules. This is also something very cool. You can center offset your selected keyboard as well as choose between a numpad, spacers in a range of colors, an LED matrix module that will show you your CPU and GPU temperatures, and or a RGB micropad. And there are actually keyboard options for white backlit or per key RGB unicorn vomit if you so choose. And like previous Framework laptops, you have the ability to swap out expansion slots. The Framework Laptop 16 has 6 ports to customize to your heart's content. You can choose from a USB-C, USB-A, HDMI, DisplayPort, microSD, Ethernet, audio, ultra-fast storage, and other options. And you can pre-order the DIY edition starting at $1,399 or pre-order the pre-built kit for $1,699. And put one of your favorite Linux distros on it, like Fedora and Ubuntu. This is just so cool. This is the laptop I have been looking forward to from Framework. And this will be my next laptop I purchase for sure. You know, not only because it has a much larger 16-inch display that would be easier for me to see and use compared to the previous model's small 13-inch display, but because it has the ability to use a hot swappable discrete GPU. This is so cool, Vin. You know, you can game, podcast, and do content creation with the discrete Ryzen GPU. And then when you're done with heavy tasks, you can take the discrete GPU out and use the onboard Ryzen APU for day-to-day tasks and save battery life. It's the ultimate laptop. You can make it what you want. That's the beauty of it. And that's the beauty of Framework. They're incredible.
I think like a lot of you, all this is going to be in our show notes. Don't worry about it. If you're watching the video version, where you're just scrolling down, you're like, it's Framework. Neat. You already know the deal. Then you get to this. Then you got to this.
Yes.
And your only thought was, wait a minute. What are you doing? Oh, you're putting in a keyboard? Okay, and you're putting in a number pad next to a keyboard? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's illegal. You're not allowed to do that. But with a Framework, you absolutely can. And imagine being able to have a, number pad-ish like device next to an offset keyboard. I think that is a brilliant idea. Mm-hmm. Now, one of the things we were talking about on Saturday, I think it's in 2025, the EU has passed a law, or is going to implement or enact, I guess we should say, a law where you have to have removable batteries in all devices. Yeah. Now, on Saturday, we were talking about how is this going to affect the Steam Deck, which it will. You don't think about things like that, but you can technically replace the battery in the Steam Deck if you get a lot of time and some prying because it's glued on there. That's going to have to change. And, this is really aimed at like mobile devices and things like that, but laptops fall into this category. And I used Framework as an example because for years and years and years and years, like, why can't we get, the DIY markets? Like, why can't we get like a standard, like an ATX equivalent form factor standard for laptops? Because we all know the nightmare of like, oh no, nice. I need to replace this part on this laptop. Oh boy, I hope I can find it.
Or it costs more than the laptop is worth.
Because somebody's like, you just couldn't buy that one part. You were buying it from somebody or you had to buy the entire laptop used to get the one thing.
Yeah.
We've all had variations of that. And you think about screens and things like that. But the thing is, like, Dell had said, HP, your Lenovo's like, listen, everybody. We can't make modular laptops because they're going to be big, bulky, and super expensive. You're not going to want them. And it took this long. And I think this is a lot of the excitement with Framework. For Framework just to call BS and all that. And like,
yeah,
they've done nothing but lie to you. We can make a sleek, affordable, even as a smaller company, affordable laptop with all of these options. And they knocked it out of the park with their first one.
Yeah, absolutely.
They really flipped that equation on the side of like, I think it might have been Dell. Dell's like, we're getting to research laptops that you can kind of upgrade after telling you that it was completely impossible. And I like this future. And, you can swap out the batteries. You can swap out the keyboard. You can swap out the screens. Frameworks got it down. And for a higher end laptop, being able to get the DIY edition for $1,300, that's not unreasonable.
Yeah. Yeah. That's for what you're getting, something that's upgradable, repairable, sustainable, on top of being a high end laptop. I mean, you can pay that much just for a regular laptop from the store. You might as well buy one that you can upgrade later and reuse parts from.
Think about how much computer you're going to get. A $1,300 Framework, or from how much compute power and usability you're going to get from that versus a $1,300 MacBook.
Yeah.
Like, if you can get a MacBook for $1,300 these days.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, that MacBook's going to have soldered in storage and memory.
Yes.
So you won't ever be able to upgrade it.
Yeah. And the OS eventually will stop supporting it. So that's where Linux comes along and saves the day.
It's kind of wild. And you could run everything you want on this. There's no locking. You run Windows, you can run Fedora, you can run Debian, all the fun stuff that you would. Somebody go install Haiku on it because, there's that one weirdo there.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is brilliant. If you want to get the pre-built, it's $1,600. I do want to point out the demand for these things. I'd have to go back and double check this, but the last I heard that, like, the ship date for these pre-orders have already been moved because this is kind of early to Q1 of next year.
Yes.
So there's going to be a bit of a wait. We'll keep that in mind. Up next is a program that I love to hate on, but it works. It's the best tool for the job. DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve is for the past about 3.5 years, every bit of video you've ever seen on Linux Themecast has been through DaVinci Resolve at some point. And 18.5 is out. I've been testing the beta for quite some time. What is it? Currently, it's like $200. It's still under $300 if you want to get the pro version. The non-pro, they just call it like the studio, not the studio, just the regular version. It's got some limitations in it, but it gives you an idea of whether or not you'd want to buy it, which is always good. This, nothing huge to report on, I'm going to be rolling, but this has got a bunch of updates. It's just, I'm going to be honest with you, there's like 150 new features. I felt like one of them that was kind of useful for me, and I tend to only talk about stuff I know about, and, well, something I do know about is its ability to generate subtitles. It can do that. Why? Because it can do transcriptions of your audio. So here's like a complete list of this. And if you don't know DaVinci Resolve, non-linear video editor, started out on Linux. It was Linux first, later got ported to Mac, then Windows, and it's generally available. I'll tell you about some of the downfalls of it. Not anything's perfect, but here's the thing. Before I do any of that, I went too long on that. I got to give DaVinci Resolve credit because I bought a license for DaVinci Resolve at version 14. At 14. Where are we at right now? Version 18.5.
18.5, wow.
Now, here's the other thing. If I bought a license of, let's say I bought the DaVinci Resolve editing system and I paid, what was it, $20,000? I would still be able to upgrade from that version 1 because They don't nickel and dime you. It's not a subscription. You buy the software. It just works.
Mm-hmm.
And you're done with it. How rare is that in 2023?
Yeah.
They're not trying to get you to know Blackmagic has a subscription service, but it's for their cloud hosting and editing. So if you want to do collaborative online editing and stuff like that, it's available. But the application itself has always been, you just get the free updates. I want to give them credit for that.
Mm-hmm.
However, being able to transcribe the audio and video. So I take like Linux Gamecast or a couple of segments. You've been out and you've been shooting stuff. Let's say you get like 5 or 6 hours worth of footage. You drop everything from all the sources into your timeline. You got the audio in there. Like, man. And let's say you've been shooting this stuff all week, right? You've been doing a couple of different things.
Mm.
Where was I talking about the thing at? Oh boy, I got to scrub through 5 hours worth of footage and see if I can find the part where I was talking about the thing. Transcribe all the audio. It does a really good job on it. You can search through that audio for what you were saying, and it'll jump to that part in the timeline.
That's amazing.
On that video clip. It doesn't have to be in one single clip. It can be multicam, whatever you got set up. You're like, where was that conversation?
Nice.
Boom, there it is. Like, oh, there. It's like, that's useful. That's useful. I like that. Because I always do like little stinger things at the beginning of a Linux Gamecast. It's like, we have like a little funny a joke.
Yeah.
Something to kind of give you an idea what you're in before in that first, 5-6 seconds. And I remember what it is. I'm like, I have no idea when we did it though. So instead of scrubbing through that, I can run the transcribe on the audio and type in, a couple of swipes at like, what was the topic that I thought was fun? And boom, there it is. Like, oh, neat. Cut it out, slap at the front. It's wicked easy. And also, as you might just assume, if you're able to transcribe all the audio, and I'm going to say accuracy, it's higher than Whisper. I played around. I did some A/B testing with Whisper. This is all self-contained using the DaVinci Neural Engine. It's not done online. I cut the box off from the internet and used it just to verify that. Works locally. And I'm going to say probably 98% accurate. Like anything, any type of auto transcription, you're going to have to go back and like fine tune anything, but you can use that to create subtitles on top of everything else.
Yeah.
And they're already amazing. Time matched. So you're not have to manually insert them, and it's got the options like how it's just super cool. Again,
it's AI put to good use.
150
awesome.
New features.
Yeah.
I found one that I really liked. Now, something I do want to talk about every time I talk about DaVinci Resolve. It's got problems on Linux that they've never addressed, and they are very much like, la, 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 it's not a problem, and they're real problems, especially the more I do. No support for audio plugins under Linux. So no support for VST, VST3, LV2, or CLAP, like just across the board. So if you get a bunch of audio plugins that you traditionally use in a DAW to edit your audio, like you should, instead of trying to edit your audio in a video editor, but you get some leeway with DaVinci Resolve because it also has Fairlight. You don't just get Resolve, you get Fusion, you get Fairlight.
You get Fusion, Fairlight, yeah, and color correction.
Is their audio application. You're stuck with the built-in suite that comes, it's about 20 different things. And my personal ranking of the built-in plugins range from, there's not a nice way to put this, from ooh to I sincerely hope nobody's ever used this in production. Is my scale. They're just not good. Like last resort I'd use them on. So that is a big sticking point. It still cannot to this day import AAC audio. On Linux. It doesn't matter if you have the studio version like I have. Can't do it. It's not that it can. It's not a technical limitation. It's just Blackmagic being Blackmagic. They're like, nah. So you still have to, export or transcode your audio to something that it can handle. What else are some big ones? Your social media on Windows and Mac. You can link all of your social media, your TikToks, YouTubes, any place that you would upload to Vimeo, and just automatically upload directly to the service. Can't do that on Linux. That's a limitation. And is there another one that drives me up the wall? I think that's roughly
Those are the two, yeah.
But everything else works out of the box I like it. Eventually, I'm going to find me one of those arc. You hear that?
Yes. Oh boy.
Power! I've never understood the point of that. You know, even as a teenager, when I was into shouty cars, I was like, I would take my shouty cars like out in the country to be shouty about it, right?
Yeah.
I like
Not in the city.
oh, but hey, you know, people like loud noises, I guess. DaVinci Resolve, happy to play with it. It is, if I'm not trying to sell, I don't make anything from this, obviously, and I've definitely been in arguments with Blackmagic developers before on multiple occasions. If you watched my videos where it took an entire year to get a thing fixed, it's stable.
Yeah, it's very stable.
It doesn't crash and we're talking about hundreds of gigabytes of stuff I've thrown into these things, hours upon hours. We're talking like 11, 12 hours editing. If I manage to make DaVinci Resolve crash, it's always followed by verbally going, yeah, I deserve that. Probably shouldn't have been running that.
Yeah, yes.
You know what? That one's on me, all right? My bad. My bad. And, you know, AMD, no, all right. I did the one video a couple of months ago about getting it up and running on, because you need the AMD Pro driver.
Yeah.
And you find out how much AMD loves Linux the second you have to install software from AMD. And you're like, oh, they don't care about Linux. And I'm like, no, not even a little bit. We need to thank all of our open source developers that have made awesome drivers for AMD.
Yeah.
AMD on desktop for Linux, like they don't care that you exist. Intel, you're not doing much better. I'll eventually get like one of those 770s or something. Maybe Battle Mage will be out by the time. And we'll find out whether or not DaVinci Resolve works well under Linux. I don't know. Joe, you got some thoughts on it?
Yeah, I was excited about this. You can now import and export timeline using the Open Timeline IO format, which is an industry standard open source interchange format and API for editorial cut information that was actually created by Pixar Animation Studios. And I've used it in many programs, including Final Cut Pro and Avid and Blender. And there is also a hardware accelerated encode support for AV1 on AMD systems. That's exciting. We're finally getting GPU acceleration on DaVinci with AMD, which is really nice. And also, DaVinci Resolve 18.5 has the ability to import MKV movie chapters as media markers and the ability to export timeline markers as MKV chapters. That's going to prove very helpful, and probably for Ven, too, in doing edits on shows.
You think I use Matroska containers. Quit being silly.
I know you don't, but who knows, you may someday.
I'd used them in the past. I used Move containers for everything.
Yeah. I use a MKV when I'm teaching DaVinci with my students. Yeah. So it's a thing.
All right. So there you go. Run out, play with it if you want. It's free to download, free to play with. It is a really rough experience if you're outside of our friendly, loving NVIDIA ecosystem. But if you just, if you're one of those rare weirdos that has an NVIDIA GPU, like 80% of the market, try it out. If you got an ARC, write in. Let me know if it works.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to test it myself eventually. But yeah, like I've asked the Bing box, the Google box, the DuckDuck Quack box. I'm like, hey, has anybody tested this? And there's like the one guy in Reddit. He's like, yeah, it works great. No problems whatsoever, which is like, that guy probably doesn't even know what DaVinci Resolve is or owns an ARC card, right?
No explanation. I know it works great on Blender because Blender has software developed specifically for it now.
They have that, but they also haven't updated their binary Linux drivers in like 6 months.
In a long time. Yeah.
Oh, these are like all like fun equations that Intel's not been a good steward of desktop Linux either so far. However, we're seeing like jumps in the Mesa stack.
Absolutely.
People are starting to learn about the ARC architecture, and we're seeing some like just performance boosts. I want one to play with. That's why I say I want one to play with to find all that, because we desperately need that player 3 in everything else. But before we get out of here, that's going to be all of our DaVinci Resolve talk. If you want to edit videos, try Kadian Live, see if it works for you.
Yeah.
Hopefully it does.
Works beautifully.
There's but if you need to, move up a little bit and also have some of that transferable knowledge, which I'm a big fan of transferable knowledge. And if you want to learn something that you can take out and get a job doing, DaVinci Resolve is handy for that,
Absolutely.
There's production houses that's what they use.
It's industry standard. In fact, it's beating the Premiere and After Effects in a lot of areas.
They're making inroads
in the houses
because it's cheap.
Yeah.
You don't have that subscription service.
Absolutely.
And they're really trying to cut into them with a cloud system, which I'm like, well, you guys have fun doing that. Anyway.
And it works on Linux.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's all we care about.
Yes.
Now, what is this title, Jill? No power, no problem?
Yeah. So this is something really cool. This is a Raspberry Pi project that is very unique. And you can actually get the game Doom running on just about, every piece of hardware. But this project actually takes it to the next level. Running Doom on a Raspberry Pi wirelessly. Yes, not plugged in. The developer had started playing with the cool wireless LEDs that are out there and has been messing around with wireless charging technology. And after getting a set of wireless charging PCBs and other parts, he thought it might be fun to try and run a Raspberry Pi Zero W2 with a wireless transmitter and receiver boards. And to make it a real test, he ran Doom on the Pi with a nice little small TFT screen. And it worked. And there's a lot more to it than what I just said, but you can check out all of his documentation and parts that he used in the show notes. It was really quite a fascinating read, and I know Ven enjoyed this one as well.
This is neat. It's just neat. I mean, my first thought was like, well, does it run Doom? And that was one of the subreddits I still follow. And of course, a Raspberry Pi Zero W2 can run Doom. I know. It's amazing if you're of a certain age. But using, inductive charging or just inductive power with no batteries, like, you know what? That would make a good YouTube. Oh, here's the YouTube video. Of course you did it for YouTube video. I don't blame you. I'm not hating on you. It's just neat. It's something to watch. Maybe you want to play around with yourself. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, inductive charging is still 100% Scandinavian witchcraft, which I joke about. It's just, I would like to see efficiency gains in that with inductive charging because it's so wholly inefficient. It's one of those things, you put something down, you come back, it's got some charge to it, you leave it overnight, it's probably a good idea. I think we all want a world where we can get like a good, fully covered, like big chunky desk mat with inductive charging built in.
Oh, yeah. Well, Logitech does make one for their wireless.
I'm not buying Logitech anything. Logitech has been out for like 30 years and they still can't make a micro switch that doesn't die in 9 months.
Although I'm using a Logitech mouse and this one is 15 years old.
Yeah, but I use mine more.
Yeah.
Jill's holding up an example of a mouse I can crush in my hand.
Yes, yeah, it's a little, one of those little baby portable mice, but it fits my hand perfectly, and it's pink.
Here's my Logitech mouse.
Yes. It's got that nice classic
Logitech. For me very well.
That Logitech scroll wheel that I love, and that click that I love.
Oh man, yeah. So I've replaced the Logitechs are the reason I know how to rebuild micro switches and can easily replace micro switches. Mm-hmm. And if you're ever curious, just do a search online and find the tens of thousands of people complaining about Logitech micro switches, so you know that you're not alone. But it's good to be an anomaly, isn't it, Jill?
Yeah,
I got one that
definitely worked. I did have one that died 2 years ago, so I know what you're talking about.
Oh man, yeah. You know what? Okay, maybe we should look at it a better way. I'm not hating on you, Logitech. I'm just my personal experience. Because like let's face it, I would still buy like that C920 webcam, stuff like that. Decent. I don't have a problem with them. I would like, even if Logitech made it, let's just get like a good, cheap standard for everything. Like I don't ever have to want to worry about compatibility either, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'd like my trackball. I'd like to be able to just put that on the desk, put my number. Shut up! I have a wireless number pad. Shut up. Put that on the desk, and you know, keyboard as well, and just other devices, and just have laying around everywhere, and wonder how come my arms grew horns. That'd be awesome, though. I pay extra for that.
Yes.
No, that's really cool. I like seeing people play around, and you know, especially like with the LEDs. Come on,
that's amazing. I've been fascinated by them as well.
Like let's be honest, and like collectively in all of our silly monkey brains, we're like that's magic. That's so cool. You know, they're just blinking by themselves and playing to all the fun stuff that you can do. And hey, look, they're not really a bill of material here, but all the links to get stuff on AliExpress and that you'd want to play with. Very happy to see it. Very happy to see it. Now, before we get out of here and roll the credits, I got to thank Ian, who is a new executive producer, joined us, patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. You wacky people who make our shows possible. You know, we don't stop and tell you about mattresses or new boxer shorts with inductive charging on them, although I might cover that if those exist. We don't do any ads, and we haven't done any ads in a decade. And to do what we do at the size and scale that we do is all done by listener support, and it's quite awesome because we just get to do it kind of how we want to. If you want to help out with that, head over to linuxgamecast.com, smash that support button, Patreon, Libra Pay. We even got crypto things. We got Amazon wishlist. I got one for the studio. If you're ever curious about stuff I'm planning on buying, you want to help out with that, I will publicly shame you on the board behind me, and there's nothing you can do about that. We got a merch store, Amazon storefront, if you want to see all the items that I bought for the studio and judge me on that. And of course, humble affiliate codes. But thank you to Ian, our latest executive producer. Hop at our Discord. That's active 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Yeah, absolutely. 24 hours.
And it's everything. It's a delightful group of miscreants, and we're all over the place, which is a good time. Come join us this Friday if you want a little puzzle platforming for some Trackmania. We'll be doing that. And tomorrow, tune in for the 5th stream of Portal Reloaded co-op with Jordan and Empty.
Yay.
As they're already starting to resent each other. It's glorious.
Yeah.
Like, and I know this as somebody who publicly went through Portal co-op, and like you build that relationship and it becomes antagonistic very quick. And you're like, oh, we got to figure this out together, but we got to work on a team, and it's good for that. And Portal Reloaded is regular portals, but with a time portal. So instead of just back and forth, they got to deal with the present, past, and future on top of every map.
Yeah.
And it will hurt your brain.
It does.
And hopefully everything gets sorted out. I've reworked Jordan's outdoor live stream setup for his session. So I worked on that yesterday for about half a day. Got it tightened up. Well, I think I did it on Tuesday. Yeah, yesterday was Tuesday, right? That's how days work. Really?
Yes.
So it's going to should sound a lot better. He'll be testing that hopefully in production tomorrow if he gets a chance, because Empty's kind of got a less than stellar headset microphone.
Yes.
So I got my EQ shovel out and started carving into that a little bit, and got him set up with also a good limiting amplifier. And
cool.
It sounds as I've polished the you know what out of the you know what. So it'll sound all right. 7:30 tomorrow night, Friday, Backtrack Mania's Linux Gamecast Weekly. 8:30 back here on Twitch. All right, everybody.
Yeah.
Halfway through the week. Friday's coming.
Yay.
Let's roll some credits.
It's Wednesday. Be happy. Friday's only 2 days away. We have lots of wonderful patrons and viewers to thank, including our advisors. We have actually Artherin is in chat right now, and we also have Omegas as an advisor. Our executive producers, Barbara, Scott M, Atomic, and Mike G, drummer. And our Chicago people, Super Dust Out, Empty, Blasphemy. And our sea monsters, Ronald L, Ryder Ex Machina. And that's as far as I could get through that list. And the Death Notes. Too many of them for me to name. And the Chairlings. Even more of them to name. That
385. What you got to do is you got to do all the, countries in the world song from like Animaniacs and mnemonic memorization.
Yeah. That would be awesome. I haven't heard that. Oh, that brings back memories. I haven't heard that in a while, Ben.
Hey, everybody. We got to run. See you next week.
Bye, you guys. do.
I need some glow sticks. I need some LED. I need some fake glow sticks with some like button batteries so I can reach over and cut them on and like wave them around a little bit.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
That and like some mescaline would be awesome. Egg roll. You use AMD with a DaVinci. Is that running pretty smooth? All I have is the APU to play around with, that 5600G. Well, one of my 5600Gs. I've never tried it with a big boy AMD card. Why? Because I'm a NVIDIA shell. That's pretty cool. I do want to try it with Intel. Yeah, compute on AMD and Linux leaves a little bit to be desired. I want it to be super good. That's why I'm like ROCm or LCM support on AMD side. I think that's going to help out, change things up, but I don't know. Each to their own. Cool. So let's see, how long was that? Boop. Okay. Well, we take off 10 minutes, so yeah, we're about 34 minutes, 35 minutes.
Oh, okay, good.
I knew it was a little bit long, but not.
Yeah, I know that one felt longer, but it was fun. We had some good topics, as always.
35 degrees outside.
Oh, it's 24 here. 24 Celsius.
What is 35
hot
in
for us?
freedom units?
But cool for the rest of the country.
35 and 95 degrees in Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
So it is warm.
The Atlantic Ocean hit over 100 degrees. So that makes sense.
There was like, I think it was like 101, but that was like in the Saudi Gulf.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's still warm, but it's like, I would expect it to be like extra warm there no matter what, as far as water temperatures.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. And Death Valley, people are like hanging out in Death Valley trying to take a picture with the hottest recorded temperature.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing.
And they're passing out and dying.
Oh, yeah. People are dumb. Go figure. You don't go for a run on one of the hottest weeks of the year.
Oh, there's just there was a hiker who died because he was just out hiking. He was like, thump.
Yeah. There's been runners, there have been hikers. And the hiker, I guess what was it, Steve Husband, he saw an interview with him and he goes, yeah, it's really hot, but I'm continuing to go. And next day he was dead. Mm-hmm. Like,
He did what he loved, though. I mean.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
No. My frail, delicate self, like, it would have to be an emergency before me to be out and about in like 35 degree weather. Much less like 40 or 50.
Oh, the Florida Keys, it did get pretty hot. Yeah. That's what I thought. I thought it had reached Florida, that heat, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah. It's part of the human condition, Arthur, and we're all dumb. We're just different degrees of dumb. And then you got people who are dumb don't realize they're dumb. That's at least that's entertaining.
Yeah, Amir, never again. Because we live in deserts here. I've done many a trip to Vegas. I've done trips to Death Valley, and not for me anymore. I'm not doing that again. I hit it when it was 120 one time. It was one of the highest at that point. Highest days. We were headed to the Star Trek convention in Las Vegas, and that was miserable.
Terrible,
absolutely miserable.
Brutal, literally minutes. That's even the worst thing in the world, too. Not worst thing in the world. You know what I mean, though. You know, I'm just using it as a figure of speech. Is going from like air conditioning to heat back to air conditioning. Be it like if you've been cruising around in the car, then you got to hit the hot heat, then you're back in the AC.
Oh, that could kill you. That was always harsh for me when we were in Vegas in the summer. It's 110 or whatever outside, and you go into the convention hall where it's 60, and that shock.
Out on the strip in Vegas, 110 degrees. Like that's I'd expect to be 120.
Yeah.
At night, I mean.
Oh yeah, in Vegas, when it's a cool, balmy 100 is when people can come out at night and go walk. That was always
that being like freedom units, but I mean, typically it'll still be like 30 degrees in the evenings. Like, I mean, it's
100 Fahrenheit.
It's a desert.
Yeah.
Las Vegas is
normal.
A testament to the arrogance of humankind. It's like, yes, let's build a city in the middle of the desert. However, Vegas has some of the, if not the highest water reclamation of any place in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's underneath the city. That's really cool. I saw a tour of it.
They don't waste water. They don't.
Yeah, it all gets recycled.
Mm-hmm. Which is kind of fascinating, but still.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's the only thing I don't like about when we would have the Star Trek conventions in the middle of summer in Vegas. That was harsh. And Steve was always nervous about the car, overheating. That's why we never took our own car. We always rented one. Ugh. Not fun.
So has anybody got anything going on this week? Anything fun? Anybody want to report anything?
I am going to Disneyland this weekend, but what I'm going to do is, because I don't want to be there when it's in the 30s, 35, 40 or whatever it's going to be. We'll go at night and have dinner there, and then enjoy the park at night when it gets down to like 90. So that's what we decided to do.
Oh, I'm not logged in. See, this is the one I was talking about. It's one of the new.
Yeah, that's a good price.
Yeah, they're cheap.
Easy Cap.
Easy Cap's been around for a long time. They have, and they're just like UVC devices. So we'll have to want to get one from Ganzhou, China, maybe. $90 or 70. See, this is like one of the things. How about 72? Let's just get one for $72 instead of $89. It's one of those types of devices. It probably YUV and V12 RGB, 1080, 120, 2160, 30, 1440, 60. It does UHD pass-through, max pass-through resolution, 2160p 30. It probably has no type of downscaler in it or upscaler. Should work out of the box on Linux, though, I'm guessing. Oh, no. Look, it's got RGB. See, now it's worth every penny. Yeah, there you go.
Now it's worth every penny.
Oh,
yeah, honey. It's up. We could get on that ride. Get cooled off.
Latency's less than 50 milliseconds. That's kind of high. Even my Blackmagic cards have 1 frame of latency. Huh. I don't know. I might pick up one of those and we'll find out whether it knows how to Linux. Or do some, I'll compare it. going to be getting a AJA card eventually.
Mm.
We'll compare it against the $1,200 AGA card. See which one's better. Or I could buy 3 for $69. Nice. 34 each. Oh, man. Yeah, people don't buy PCI Express stuff anymore. It's kind of strange.
Yeah.
You want like USB dongles, and like, I got a 4K capture card over USB 3, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, you can if you compress the absolute snot out of it before it goes over the USB 3. Like if you had like Thunderbolt maybe, or USB 4, I'm like, okay, that's viable. I'm a big fan of PCI Express. Anything I can put on the motherboard and not have flopping around.
Yes. Yeah.
I've just been lazy. Like I thought about, because I have that like wicked, even though it's not really good for like real-time audio production, it's still an incredibly good sound card with the AES out. That Digigram VX222E that I could put in a Threadbooper, but don't need to. I got a USB. Even though this motherboard has a optical out on it, but it's a bit of, that's what I got. I have that Doak Audio U2, I think, just hanging off the back of it, running over here to. But you shouldn't need any like extra drivers for anything from EasyCap. I've never experienced that with the EasyCap stuff.
It's all just plug and play.
Yeah, you just plug it in, it picks it up as a webcam. Kind of like my Magewell quad.
Yeah, Magewell's good that way, yeah.
You can just do it like that, but I do recommend installing the drivers for Magewell, regardless, so you can get access to, because all the Magewell hardware doesn't ship in like low latency mode, which you probably want to have. Then you can enable that through the, it's all text CLI. I did a whole thing. I wrote up how to do it way back when. Talk about some expensive hardware just sitting in a box in my room, not doing anything.
Yeah.
But why do we hold on to stuff like that? Because if something ever happens to the Blackmagic quad, guess what? I walk into the room and I get that and I swap it out, and we're still doing a show that day. Important. You gotta have backups.
Yeah.
When it comes to hardware. Preferably you want backups for your backups, but hey, we're on budget.
Well, you have Twitch as your backup of your backup, so that's good.
Well, if I'm not able to get the video to capture it, it doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
And this thing doesn't work. Like all these, I got 2 backup PCs for the 3 PCs that, like the one that Jill's on, the one that Jordan or Pedro on, and the one we have for guests. I got a backup and a backup for that. And those have to work because our audio system is wired, because we do mix minus here. The way the Jitsy's set up. I forget who it was. It was like, I want to see your Jitsi setup. I'm like, I can give you access to our Jitsi. It would be completely useless unless it was wired into this particular Reaper session. Because there's no echo cancellation, noise reduction, any of that. It's all handled on this side, and the return audio and your mix minus is handled here. You okay?
Yeah, I was like choking a little bit. I choke on things like water. Just a thing.
So they gave me a card. I'm not going to hold up to the camera, like a debit card for my jury duty.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I have no idea how much.
Now.
I guess it's like $20, maybe. I have no idea what's on it. I don't know. I will kind of wish I do, because it looks like it's going to be a hassle to like set up and activate and all that.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I get bored enough, I'll find out how much is on that. It'll probably. I know it does expire though, because it says like, that's dirty if you ask me. Like, it's got like an inactivity fee.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Oh, gosh. That's horrible.
It's like $4 a month if you don't use it until I guess it runs out of money. Like, that's a bit shady.
Yes, Mir, that would be obvious. Take it to your bank and have them transfer it to your account. Do it all the time.
Yeah. After I go through all the trouble of setting up and activating the card. Because it doesn't even have a PIN number on it right now. That's what the big attention thing in all caps that's on the sticker on the front is like, before you do anything with this.
Yeah.
And see, that's like the big step. Like, once I do that, it'll be easy enough to just transfer it online. But it's probably like $20, so I don't care. Like, that's not worth my time.
Yeah, the longest I was at jury was 3 weeks. 3 weeks, and they just, back then, they just cut you a check. I just deposited it. That was years ago.
Yeah. I've done jury, first couple times I did jury duty, they just give you a check. This is a recent innovation.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a government system, so it's going to be the most atrocious, user hostile setup that you've, typical government website. Going to be bad. All right.
You might find yourself preferring the check over the card.
Checks aren't
But
the option
government
anymore.
does cards now. They do that for the stimulus money. They did that during the pandemic.
I didn't know they gave out cards for like the stimulus thing. That just like got direct deposited into one of my accounts. I was like, hey.
Oh. Yeah, Steve and I always usually prefer the cards so that we can deposit them ourselves, because he doesn't want government access to our accounts.
Government's got access to your accounts.
Yeah.
FDIC, I mean, they
They
the
do.
ones who run the entire network.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everybody, I'm going to go get to work, so I hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday. Maybe it's Thursday.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Friday when you're listening. Maybe it is 2033 and you're listening to a retro Linux open source podcast. What I want you to do, future person, see if I'm still around. Send me an email. Be like, hey, man, or whatever Laser 6 communications we're sending, and see if I'm still around. Say, hey, I happen to be listening to this in 2033. Till next week, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Love you all.